Hi everybody, how are you today?
Hey Ivo, how are you today? How are you doing today? I'm glad that
Great.
this is
Well,
our
I
last. Uh, I was going to say this is our last one in January, last ADC live, and it's amazing. It's 2026, second day, second event, and January is almost over.
Yeah, that's true. And so for this reason, I have a special guest that is my cat. So sorry for the interruption. But yeah, that's it. I didn't mean to prepare this, but yeah, we have a cat on camera. Sorry, this was not really planned. But yeah, of course. This last episode for January, this time it's about the customization API. So, we will see what is this, how you can leverage it to make your LumApps intranet more beautiful, and plenty of other things, right? But first of all, yes, of course. It's important to say that customization API at first may sound a little bit intimidating. Actually, this is just an overview. So it's a light introduction to what you can do with the customization API. So that's why I put the Chiquita's stamp here on the top right. That's about easy. That's a 101 level because we are going to see where you can find all the elements that you need in order to prepare your first customization API, and we give you a sample of how you can use customization API for adding a consideration in the contextual actions menu. That's it. That's it about
That's
the
it's a very
highlight.
good point. It's a very good point. I was going to say because that's why we need your feedback to tell us if you'd like us to go a little bit deeper. Those of you who are watching, because this is an overview, shows some use cases, how to set it up, what we have done. But if you want us to go deeper into it, then that's the kind of field we want, because here our goal is really to kind of try to cater to what Lumis and what obviously what Lumis customers are most interested in. So and this is where it will be helpful for us at the end for you to take a survey and let us know what you think. Ivo, back to
Sure.
you.
So, that is a golden opportunity for me to remind everybody that, we have a page on LinkedIn where you can follow this event live and where you can post the comments. Normally, we should see your comments, your questions there. And so, anytime, even way later, the live, you can leave your comment there and we will be answering it. So that's another good opportunity to leave a comment about this webinar. And how did you find it? Was it useful? Not at all, stuff like that. Okay. So thank you very much for your feedback. That's gold for us. So let's begin from the beginning with the pro tip of the week as usual. Misha, do you want to take this one? Or
This one is an interesting one because this allows you to kind of custom configure the search results and the scope and who's going to actually benefit from the search on mobile. Because mobile, for those of you who are on mobile, those of you who have desktop and remote workers and frontline workers, most likely frontliners aren't searching and looking for the same things as the desktop workers are. And so you have the opportunity. We know that in mobile streams, you could set up who can see what kind of stream, which stream is targeted to which, or um, uh, which stream is targeted to which user group. But here you go a little bit deeper and customize the search results about what kind of communities they can find, and things like that, so that it's more relevant for the frontline workers. Um, Ivo, did I get that? Is there more here? That
Yeah, that's right. But the golden bridge to what's next is that this feature is totally new. So it's coming out right today with the new LumApps release. And so, this is an opportunity that you hadn't before. And so, yeah, that's totally it, Misha. It's about letting your mobile users focus their search on just what they really need. And so, yeah, LumApps is the right information in the right place in the right moment, right? So, yeah, that's it. That's
right?
about that.
Well,
But
I'm very
I think,
excited about the upcoming release for a few reasons, at least two reasons, if not more. First of all, obviously, what you just mentioned that release is coming up with the with mobile search custom configurations, but also is that LumApps is going to highlight two of ADC's extensions in this release. In fact, one of them is the one we've talked about last week, the estimated reading time, a great extension that provides context around how long the page is, and essentially that is something that will help folks kind of set their expectation for how much time to set on the page, to read the page, and of course it'll increase some engagement tactics and increase some KPIs with analytics, improve your scroll depth analysis analytics if you have those set up on the page, improve engagement rates with content. And we've actually made a lot of customizations with this widget to make it configurable for the words per minute count that best caters to the audience of the content consumers. And the other widget is really the enhancement we made for the advanced survey widget for quizzes, that we added a quiz feature, and this way it really broadens the scope of just a basic survey. Now you can launch quizzes for quizzes about product to product teams, knowledge quizzes, games and quizzes. You can kind of test and validate knowledge of folks um, uh, who are essentially in your company about all sorts of aspects of the company, of the business, or various onboarding materials and knowledge quiz about onboarding topics that managers can then come back and validate and test and see how their employees are doing. It obviously reinforces any type of learning if you're using LumApps for learning, with learning. So all those kind of things, these are all native to LumApps, using LumApps extensions, and these are announced today. Hopefully, we haven't yet officially seen the release. We know that this is coming. Hopefully, end of day today, maybe tomorrow. Sometimes there's a few days delay, but we know it is definitely coming. So by the time you will see this, if you're not tuning in live, you're watching recording, this will already be announced, and you can come back and see the notes on the Hive. Always remember to log into the Hive to get your latest updates. Ivo, back to you.
okay, great. So let's deep dive, not so deep, but let's dive into the customization API. What is it about? Well, LumApps is a great product. It has thousands of features that you might leverage for your intranet, and it offers really plenty of extension points. So, for example, you could create a micro app. You could ask somebody to create a widget to integrate some live streaming platform. You can really integrate it with your information system, with your digital ecosystem. Here, in this case, LumApps gives you, thanks to the customization API, LumApps gives you also the possibility to extend even more your internet. How is it doing so? Well, by means of two main components. We have what LumApps calls the instance style and what it calls the instance script. So if you are a web developer, these two terms normally should ring a bell, in the sense that you are very familiar with JavaScript, for example, and for example, you could be used to style sheets. The idea is that you can integrate those scripts and those style sheets directly into your digital workplace HTML code. They will be injected somewhere in every page of your digital workplace. This gives you an infinite amount of power, in the sense that you can change the look and feel thanks to the instance style in order to match even better your digital identity, your brand identity. And in terms of instance scripts, you can, for example, add new behaviors. You can add new components. You can get information. you can automate the interaction between the users and the digital workplace. So these are two very powerful instruments that LumApps makes available to everybody who is an administrator, of course. In this case, you have a few screenshots here on this slide about where you can find it. So this possibility is given you through the LumApps administration interface. We will see this during the demo. In this administration interface, you have a style element. And then in the style section of the style element, you will be able to find the custom code button. The custom code button will open a popover, a dialog, and that's where you are going to paste the code. So the style sheets and the scripts. The custom code window looks like this. And here in this particular case, you can see code in it. So for example, here we are customizing the default font family for our digital workplace. This is the portion on the top. You can see that, well, if you're not a web developer, this will look a bit strange in the sense that it's not human language. These are style sheets expressed with the CSS syntax. So you need to know it a little bit at least, or ask some kind of AI to produce that style for you. And then on the lower portion of the page, you can see this head tag. And so the head tag is HTML. One more time, this is a machine language that is interpreted by your computer, by your browser, when it displays this page. And so in this case, we are injecting some other HTML tags, and these tags will be interpreted in order to add even more styles or custom behaviors or new components. That's what this custom code window is about. So, well, in this case, we have not seen yet how to develop a custom script, right? But what I wanted to do right now, before moving to the best practices, maybe what I can show is where you can find those items in the customization, in the administration interface. So this one is a sample website. This is our sandbox. So let's follow those instructions that I put on my slides. The first step is to visit the administration interface. And here, for example, just below the site settings, in this group here, you have the style. In the style section, you need to click on this button here. And this action will show you this button custom code. This is where our instance style is. Well, it's quite long. We have, well, it has taken a fair amount of time to implement all this code during the years. But now I think that we have a website that matches our brand identity. And in below here, what we have is that we have some code that is adding some custom behaviors. So I'm not going to go deep into detail, but this is a JavaScript code that is executed every time that any one of our intranet pages gets loaded. And so, for example, here we are installing the gamifications actions tab. If you have followed our previous ADC Live, if you are familiar with our extension, you will know that we are specialists of Bunchball. That is a gamification platform. This means that we can configure your internet in order to collect actions about what your users are doing. And so thanks to this instance style and instance scripts, we can inject code in your intranet so that it collects information relevant to your gamification program. So that's about it. This is a sample about something that we can do with instance styles and instance scripts. But the list is very, 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 very long. In fact, you have plenty of use cases that for which you could be using the instance script and the instance style. I'm going to name just a few, but it's important to know that you have this documentation page here dedicated to the LumApps developers that is going to describe first the two options that you have, the JavaScript and the CSS. So this one is the instance script and this one is the instance style. And then for every one of them, they propose a list of use cases here. You might find something useful in this list. It's a very, very long page. Just have a look at how little is the cursor of the scroll for scrolling the page in this case. So just just a few to name them. For example, it's useful to add a site navigation to your application, a navigation menu that you add notes in your digital workplace, something like this, you see. Then, for example, you could be displaying a model welcome window. That's very, very useful for your onboarding, for onboarding your new employees. That might be helpful to add buttons here on the top bar, or to customize the look and feel of the search bar, or to display a banner on the top of certain kinds of pages. Or maybe it could be useful to add new elements to the contextual actions. What is that, you ask? Well, on every LumApps page, even for this one, we have here a set of custom actions. So these are the default actions that everybody has on its internet. In this case, what we are going to propose you is to see together how we can add a new element to this menu. We will see that in a second. Just to complete in terms of user cases, for example, you could be adding new elements to the contribution menu. Contribution, for example. So here we have, for example, the possibility to add new elements to this menu here. And we have plenty of others. This is just about the custom script that is about behaviors and adding new elements to your user interface. Then we have other use cases also for the style. In this case, the number of use cases that LumApps has proposed on this page is limited compared to the instance script. But yet, for example, you can customize the font family, so change the font family that is being used for your site. You can change the top bar's icon background color, for example, or you can increase the desktop page width. So, for example, here on this page, we know that the width of any content, maybe we can get out of here and we can just visit our digital workplace. So this is a width that we have on screen, right? This width that we have here can be changed by overriding the default LumApps settings. This is a nice use case for the instance style. However, that said, I've spoken about the two main families of customization APIs in LumApps and about a few of the use cases related to the customizations API. It's important to know that at the end of this presentation, we'll give you a link to this page where you can find all the useful links that I have spoken about. So next, what I am going to show you is a very quick way to test the customization API. So on this page, this is an empty site, right? And on this empty site, you can see that we have the default actions that every LumApps page has. So in this case, we can just edit. And in here, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take some code that you have prepared, and I'm going to switch to the code view of this HTML widget. This is actually the fastest way to test some instance script that you have without changing all the pages of your website, right? So this is the code that you have prepared in advance, and this is going to add something to the contextual actions, something that is going to copy my current user's token. This is very useful if you are a developer when you wanted to test your extensions, for example. So let's imagine that we want this across all the pages of our site, right? So let's just test this first just on this page. So when I close the edit mode, you can see that we have this HTML widget on this page. And now here on the right, we have one more element, copy my token. If I click that, well, an alert will be prompt. This is the behavior that I have injected in the page, right? So a new alert will be prompted, and from now on, in my clipboard, I will have the content of my token. I think that you can see it. If that is not the case, just to show you how my token looks like and to prove that it's working, well, this is my Lumas token. Very easy. It has taken well, a short while to implement the code, but you can inject it very easily into any LumApps page and test it safely. So, speaking of developing custom code, we have listed a few best practices for a successful deployment of your next instance script. So what we suggest is that you duplicate first your target site, or that you create a new HTML page in the same way I did, right? So you once you have duplicated this site or created this page, make sure that it's visible only to the administrators and to the ones who are going to test it. Then another best practice that we suggest is that you save the code and the style somewhere on your computer. That might be your editor, for example. That might be a website like GitHub. In all the cases, the suggestion here is to version them. This means that any change that you do to that code should be saved, so that if you wanted to go back to the previous modification, to the previous version of your code, you have still that possibility. There is another extra step that we can help you do, that is to automate the style updates and the versioning. We can help here. We have something that we wrote that helps precisely for that aim. Then another thing where we can help with is to prepare a Notebook LM. Notebook LM is a very useful tool by Google. So what we suggest you is that you extract all the documentation from the customizations API website and you paste it into a Notebook LM notebook. Once you have prepared such a notebook, you can ask questions about the customizations API. Now your Notebook LM knows everything about LumApps and the customization API. So for example, let's imagine that you have a use case. You're not sure whether or not LumApps supports it. Just go to Notebook LM and ask that question to Notebook LM. It will be able, by leveraging the official LumApps documentation, to answer your questions and assess feasibility. It might even propose some code to test it very quickly on a standalone HTML web page. Another step is that, for example, well, we could help by supplying
And
you
the
as
use case you just presented, I mean, that's so far beyond, LumApps. I mean, that's That's obviously a great use case of connecting connecting to the notebook LM, LumApps knowledge source.
Sure.
Um, but it really goes far beyond it to me. That's a fascinating what you're
Yeah,
showing.
sure. Well, we have plenty of instruments in 2026 about how to make your LumApps experience efficient and even how to write code easily. So, well, on any of those, we can definitely help. And so once you did all these steps, well, the last step is to apply the style changes on your official site, right? And so to report back your changes to your original site. This is all about the best practices that we can that we could suggest you. Well, the last thing that we wanted to say for today is that if you are a widget developer, LumApps even offers you the possibility to inject instance style and instance script with any of your widgets. That is a possibility that the extensions SDK offers you natively, and it's really, really, really helpful. So that's it. Yes, of course. Well, a very last word about the scripting API. I am always surprised to see how fast this customization API evolves. So every now and then, when I need something, I go back to the official customizations API documentation and I check for changes. And often I see that the LumApps developers have added new features, new targets, new actions that you can execute in this environment. So don't forget getting back to the official documentation for news. That's it. So we have already seen even the demo. So that's everything for me today. The last thing that I wanted to share is this QR code that brings you precisely to this page about the customization API that we have prepared for you. So just use it if you wish, and it will contain also a link to our partner page. This is where you can leave feedback and give us more information about what you think. That's it. About the feedback, Misha, back to you. And then, well, for me, it's over for today. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Ivo, very much for this insightful presentation of another ADC live event. For feedback, yes, please come to our Hive page, click on the feedback button, take our survey using our ADC survey extension on the Hive. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to see, and so we can best support you and your needs. And just going forward, what's next? So we're, like I said, we're ending January. Now we're back in February, or again, we're in February 2026. So we have two very exciting ADC live events coming up. One is about micro apps. I know it's been a very, very big hot topic. We did one on micro apps, which was very well received by you. So we're doing another one, a deeper one, talking about using micro apps as a data source for SKI. I think this will be a very good one for those of you who are using micro apps and who are thinking about using micro apps, about extending Luna's experience uh, uh, with those add-ons. And then also the end of February we're doing one event about languages. You're working with languages. You're a global company, and for the how-tos of languages, of translations, and some of the best practices around those things as well. So we'll go a little bit into the navigation, into content creation, and how language behavior in general works within LumApps. And again, some of this knowledge is already obviously in LumApps. Some might not be so clear. We're here speaking from our experience, and we hope that it'll be insightful for you. Have a good day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Ivo.
Thank you, everybody.